So we thought we'd go for Q&A now. Orlando, can you come and join us as well? The reason I'm asking Orlando to join us is I know Tom talked about in terms of how he scaled the business, now 1,500 sort of plus employees, and it continues to grow rapidly. Part of that has been about getting the right team, around it. Orlando and Oresa were very much sort of part of that, and again facilitated that sort of whole process. But before we move on to that, I want to ask the first question, Tom. Tell me, how has your leadership style changed?
It's not really changed. I don't think it's changed. In the early years, I wanted everything done in 1,000,000 miles an hour. So maybe I wasn't as conscious of people's feelings, maybe in those early years. But I feel I have empathy with my staff, and I've got I think everybody feels that they can just walk into my office at any time and ask me any questions that they, however stupid they might sound. I can't sit in my office for more than 5 minutes anyway, so I'll be walking around all the buildings, trying to find out a little bit more detail deeper down, so I can sort of be aware. Because when you have created something that becomes so big, you can lose touch, and you can't lock yourself in an office. You have to have touch points, and you have those people that you start to, not only on senior management that you start to trust, but you have other people that you start to trust around the business and work out that they have a good foresight. My sister works for me as well, and she's a head of, and she tells me lots of stuff that's happening all the time. So that's quite good.
So you kept it in the family?
Kept it in the family.
So just building on that point, one of the things that you mentioned there is in terms of you really stepped out your role now as a CEO, and you brought somebody else in.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges I certainly find, I'm sure a lot of people who run high growth businesses, is when the leaders are willing to let go and what they let go. Yeah. How have you built that confidence and know in terms of what to let go to allow you then to go and move forward? How have you decided in terms of what your key strengths and stuff are?
You always start a business because you have strengths in a particular field. The problem is as the business grows, you're drawn into things that actually you don't have, that you have to learn. So for me, warehousing, HR, logistics, waste of my time, really are. Creative, customer, marketing, that's what started the business. And that's where I need to spend my time. So you bring in people that are specialists in their field, that have done it somewhere else and at a higher level. That is the most important thing, because if you have ambitions of making your business bigger, you're not going to do it by bringing in somebody that, if you're a £10 million business, there's no point bringing somebody in that has done it at a £20 million level. Really, you've got to bring them in at a £50 million level. And you have to tell them a good story to get them in. That's the thing. They have to believe you.
So how did it work? When did you decide to bring on a recruitment agency to actually help you actually fill and advise you with that thing, building the team?
I think Orlando was known in our field, and it's like anything, I need cajoling a little bit. I think he came and bothered me about 3 times at 3 different conferences. But you have to trust the recruitment agency, and I think I gained that trust with Orlando because he'd taken time to understand my business, and he said things that resonated with me. So then I put my trust in him to actually find the people that could do those jobs.
So, Ryan, do you want to tell us a bit in terms of what Oresa does and a bit of the history, how you came and met Tom and how to do all these conferences?
Sure. We call ourselves Oresa Executive Search, but actually it'd probably be fairer to call ourselves Oresa Consulting. We provide recruitment services, definitely, but actually one of the wider parts that we do is looking at organisational analysis, really understanding what's going on in the business, how it's structured, how it fits together, and then helping to design the right structure that might work for that chosen business at that given time. And actually, probably, maybe the most important thing that I think I do is act as a confessor. It's a strange relationship, but I think it is very much a relationship that chief execs miss quite often. Is somebody that is not in their HR function, is somebody that does understand what's going on outside of their business and in the wider world, and will tell them the truth about what they're seeing. And what Tom had at that point in time was a great team of people that were culturally aligned to the business and, you know, lovely individuals. But what he needed was actually functional experts, and he needed a transition plan that would get him from where he was at that point in time, probably, you know, initially about 80 million, then about 35 million and 40 million. And actually his next step was, I want to be 100 million in 5 years, how are we going to do that? And that, I suppose, is where we step in. And that's what we've been doing. And I think I was named in the industry because I'd done a couple of big growth stories. I'd put a plan to John Lewis, where they were going through some significant change, and I started working with a small business called ASOS.com.
So how has your relationship evolved? It's one of the, I find it fascinating in terms of you work together so successfully for so long, because, you know, very often I come across sort of companies and their biggest frustration, oh God, recruitment agencies, it's like worse than the devil to a degree in terms of having to go and use it. But clearly it can work successfully, and it's worked successfully in terms of that relationship. How has it evolved, and how has it continued to work, and why does it work so successfully?
Not to flatter Orlando, but he is very discreet, and if he's working with you, he won't work against you, and he's an easy guy to talk to. And, you know, as he's rightly said, you know, he had that experience. You know, we hit on a point that at 40-50 million pound turnover, Joules turnover, I had a really lovely team of people, but things had dramatically changed. You know, I had a sales director looking after all the sales functions, yet we were selling in 4 different channels. And actually, I didn't need a sales director anymore. I needed a retail director. I needed an online director. I needed a wholesale director. You know, because they were all gems. They were all small businesses in themselves. So, and so these people had helped, but they and they were great. But they didn't really have the experience if I was to take it to the next level. And Orlando and I got together, and more than anything, Orlando started to understand what I needed and starts to write the job descriptions so we could then go out to the market and attract those people and help tell the story as well.